Okay, hello again. So in this video, I'm going to go through a quick guide on the different weather conditions or weather effects in Lethal Company. There are 5 main effects in total. Each one has different ways of handling them or just completely avoiding them. So we'll start with rainy. So the rainy effect leaves quicksand in dark spots on the ground. So it's not the worst weather effect ever. It's not too bad. You can go out in it. You can get out of quicksand if you turn around and walk very fast. Turn around as soon as you realise you're in it, you can walk back out. Sometimes on foresty moons, they're a little bit harder to spot, so you have to keep your eyes out. They show up a little bit better on the brighter maps. But yeah, they can look like shadows, so just keep an eye out for those. As for the stormy weather, this one you want to be a little bit more careful. It will make bringing loot back to your ship just that little bit more dangerous. If you're carrying something metal. When you're carrying something metal, it will start to spark. If it starts to spark, you should drop it straight away. After a few seconds, it will be struck by lightning, and if you are holding the item whilst it's struck by lightning, you will also be struck by lightning. It will only happen on the item you're holding. You should be okay with items that are in your inventory, but just make sure you're dropping the one that you're holding. I believe it also affects teammates if you are stood too close. So if you are struck by lightning and you are stood right next to a teammate, it will chain onto them as well. So be very careful. For the flooded weather, just make sure you bring your armbands and goggles. This fills up with water very quickly and can block entrances and exits. A planet that becomes flooded can become very difficult to traverse. So plan your trip wisely if you're actually planning on doing a flooded planet. Be fast with your loot runs, get in and get out, and don't leave it too long. If you go in and it gets too late, you will not be able to get back to your ship. It's roughly around 5 PM, but it might vary, so just don't leave it that long, just in case, you never know. Don't leave it too long, get back to the ship. For the foggy weather, there are 3 main types of fog. There's the light fog, there's heavy fog, and there's a stink cloud. The light isn't too bad, but it can make spotting forest enemies just a little bit trickier. It won't completely obscure your vision, but it will leave you a little bit lost. Heavy fog, however, that's something completely different altogether. You can barely see and will cause navigational issues whilst traversing around the planet. You will not be able to see where you are going, so just be very careful. Listen for the ship rather than try and look for it. If you get close enough, you will eventually be able to see the lights from the ship. But if you're on a planet such as Titan, which is already kind of foggy and stormy and snowy, it just makes visibility almost impossible. So heavy fog is probably an avoid unless you know exactly where you're going. So the stink cloud, this can occur. I haven't actually got footage of this. I haven't seen this happen to me yet. I just know it's a thing. But a stink cloud can occur on any moon that has the forest keepers, so the big giants. This will only happen once a forest giant eats a player. They then have the potential to release a stink cloud. Stink clouds are basically just massive farts, but it's like being inside a heavy fog, only it's green and it causes you to cough and lose stamina. So don't catch yourself inside a fart cloud. If you run out of stamina, you will start to take damage. So just avoid stink clouds. If it's a foggy planet and you get eaten by a forest giant, just make sure your teammates aren't around to dwell in your fart smell. The terminal will not show you what type of fog it is, by the way, so you won't know until you get there. As for the most dangerous of all the weathers that should just be avoided, there's just not really any reason to go to a planet that's eclipsed. This is the most dangerous out of all of them. It just spawns all the outdoor creatures. It's essentially dark from the get-go, so just avoid it. It's very tough unless you want a challenge, in which case go for it, but stay clear of the eclipse planets. So that's the main weathers. It was just a quick sort of guide to give you an idea on what each weather does. Maybe there's a few things in there that you didn't know before, now you do. If you want more guides like these, I don't want to draw them out too much. I'm not really doing any super in-depth guides. It's just to give you an idea on what each planet does. It gives you a better understanding on what to avoid and what's perfectly survivable, but little tips and tricks to traversing planets. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. There'll be other videos to come soon, and I will catch you guys in the next one.